Welcome into today's edition of Just the Truth. Glad to have you join me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. The whole gender debate has taken on a whole new level at a Seattle, Washington high school. We'll dive into that. As we get ready for the 2024 presidential season, Iowa and New Hampshire will be making their choices known in January. The speculation of who frontrunner Donald Trump will choose as his vice presidential running mate is the talk in all political circles. One particular name is being mentioned would cause a MAGA revolt, according to Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. I'll give you the three guesses. The first two don't count of who that is. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley picked up a very important endorsement last night that could have a huge impact on the GOP presidential primary. An illegal from Morocco who crossed the border had a special thank you message for President Joe Biden. And Google has released their most searched topics and names for 2023. Is your name on that list? 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. You can send me a quick text. Your voice messages are welcome, and your emails are welcome as well, joey@joeyhudson.com.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
So Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene scorned the prospect yesterday of former President Donald Trump tapping Nikki Haley to be his running mate if he secures the Republican presidential nomination as expected. Ms. Greene, a Republican from Georgia, an outspoken fan of President Donald Trump, who has mused about joining his ticket herself, blasted the former South Carolina governor and one-time ambassador to the UN, of course, as a neocon. Greene predicted on X, posting MAGA would revolt if Nikki Haley were to even be given an internship in Trump's next administration. She represents the neocon establishment America, last wing of the Republican Party that we are absolutely done with. I would say that Marjorie Taylor Greene is not a very big fan of Nikki Haley. Haley's campaign has claimed significant momentum in the polls over the most recent weeks, gaining on Florida Governor Ron DeSantis both in Iowa and nationally. She is surging into second place in New Hampshire per the Real Clear Politics aggregate. And we have some news from New Hampshire in just a moment, too. While rumors have swirled about Haley's potentially serving in a second Trump administration, the 51-year-old former governor has refused to publicly countenance the prospect, repeatedly insisting on the campaign trail, I don't play for second. Of course, they all say that, right? You're never running to be vice president. You're running to be president. We'll see. Greene further alleged on X that Haley lied and said she would not run against Trump. Back in 2021, you may recall, Haley told reporters, I would not run if President Trump ran, and I would talk to him about it. Trump claimed that Haley did, in fact, give him a call before she announced her candidacy this past February. Ms. Greene, who has already endorsed Trump in the 2024 primary, publicly raised the possibility of being Trump's running mate in an interview with the Atlanta Journal-Constitution back in late summer. She said, I have lots of things to think about. Am I going to be part of President Trump's cabinet if he wins? Is it possible that I'll be vice president, she said. Some prominent Republicans have actively floated Nikki Haley as a potential vice president pick for Donald Trump. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy recently suggested she would boost him in the general election. McCarthy said to the New York Times, if I was picking for purely political reasons, what it looks like today is the anti-Trump vote is going to Nikki Haley. Haley's team has promoted in a recent Wall Street Journal poll that where she had a 17-point lead over President Biden in a hypothetical 2024 election, while Trump could only manage a 4-point margin according to that same Wall Street Journal poll. The Haley campaign declined to comment on Ms. Greene's swipe. Trump remains the runaway favorite, of course, with a 48 percentage point national lead in the most recent Real Clear Politics aggregate. The former 45th president has been guarded about his vice presidential pick, though he has publicly soured on his old one, Mike Pence, over his refusal to throw out the election result on January the 6th. I dare say that if, in fact, Trump gets the nomination as expected, Mike Pence will not be on the short list. Okay, so I told you I had something else news-wise with Nikki Haley, saying let's not miss this opportunity. The entire country is watching. Republican Governor Chris Sununu of New Hampshire took sides in the GOP presidential nomination race as he endorsed Nikki Haley for his choice for the Republican nominee.
There was a sweet older woman who has come to a lot of events, and I saw her coming in here, and she said, "So are you going to finally endorse Nikki Haley for president?" You bet your ass I am! Let's get this thing done! We are all in on Nikki Haley, undoubtedly.
A very, very enthusiastic crowd last night in New Hampshire as New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu made it known that Nikki Haley is his choice. The endorsement of Haley by he's a very popular governor. You have to admit that. And, of course, New Hampshire holds the first primary and the second overall contest in the Republican presidential calendar. I'll be there giving you live updated reports. I'll be in Iowa on January the 15th, and then we'll head over to New Hampshire to give you full reports as well. Moments after Sununu's endorsement and praising Haley as, quote, someone I could not be more proud of, someone who looks people in the eye, answers their questions, and most importantly, has taken the time to earn the trust of the citizens and voters in this state. The next president of the United States, Nikki Haley, as he endorsed her to a very enthusiastic crowd. A very happy Haley, speaking after Governor Sununu, said, "It's a great night in New Hampshire. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. To go and get endorsed by the live free or die governor is about as rock-solid endorsement as we could hope for." Haley, in a rare question and answer session with reporters following her town hall there, said that Governor Sununu's endorsement is huge for us. It really is. She said, everybody else has been courting Chris for months. It's no secret. You all saw it. We've got momentum on our side, but this just gave it a speed bump. So we are excited about going fast. The endorsement by Governor Sununu, who won election and re-election to 4 two-year terms as governor, again, very popular in New Hampshire, could potentially sway some Republican voters as well as independents and moderates who often play an influential role in New Hampshire's crucial presidential primary. Sununu, who for nearly 3 years has been a vocal critic of President Donald Trump. It's no secret that there's no love lost between these two men. And, of course, he recognizes the fact that President Trump has a commanding lead. He has been toying with the idea of endorsing someone. Nikki Haley has jokingly asked him a number of times for his endorsement. Sununu said in a Fox News Digital interview following the event that, quote, clearly there's a movement here behind Nikki Haley, and even suggested that it's time for all the other candidates to get out of the race and make room for Haley to win the nomination and take on Joe Biden.
Well, look, I'm behind Nikki Haley. I think they should all get out, frankly, including former President Trump. I think everyone should kind of clear the way. They're going to keep campaigning, of course, is my guess, at least for a while. They're going to have to kind of look at those poll numbers, look where the momentum is. Clearly, there is a movement here behind Nikki Haley. Clearly, there's a connection she's making in all of the 3 early states, whether it's Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. There's opportunity for her across the board. And it's with the Republican base, it's with these undeclareds, it's independents, it's folks that just want to get excited about bringing this country back together again, looking forward to the future, not just trying to relitigate the past.
Sununu pledged that for the next 6 weeks leading up to New Hampshire's January 23rd primary, We're going to go very hard on this campaign, he said, whether it's her and I on the campaign trail, a little bit of her, a little bit of me. We're going to just take the state by storm and make sure everyone has heard not just the message, but the opportunity, he said. In recent weeks, he said that he had narrowed his endorsement choice down to 3 candidates. Haley, of course, former New Jersey Chris Christie, and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Sununu has campaigned with all 3 candidates on the trail in New Hampshire just before Thanksgiving. Christie, who is once again spending most of his time and resources in New Hampshire as he makes his second bid for the White House, he returns to the campaign trail in the Granite State with 2 events today. As he worked to land Sununu's endorsement, Christie spotlighted that when it comes to Trump, he and the New Hampshire governor were on the same page. Christie, as you know, has also been very critical of Donald Trump. When asked if Haley's hesitation to be critical of Trump, because you do have to admit that Nikki Haley has not been that outspoken on Donald Trump, which kind of leads you to think she's kind of holding the idea of being a vice presidential candidate, holding that as an option, even though she says she's not running for second. Governor Sununu says that Haley is better off talking about what she has to offer than being critical of President Donald Trump.
Oh, not at all. Look, a candidate has to be talking about what they're about, not just what the other guy isn't. Right? So I think there's always opportunity to talk about the former president in terms of where he succeeded and where he didn't, and there's a lot of didn't there. But I think Nikki's done a great job, not just talking about him, but what she's about, what her story is, what her background, her experience is, how she can bring this country together. Her answers on very tough questions are incredibly detailed. Her answers are crystal clear, not up here at 30,000 feet. We're going to help everybody do everything. It's none of that kind of stuff. She gets in the weeds. She can talk about mental health. She can talk about the opioid crisis. She can talk about school choice and what families have to go through at that very detailed level. And that's what Live Free or Die is all about, understanding that the individual, not big government, but the individual comes first.
Now, when Haley was asked by Fox News if Chris Christie and other candidates should take Governor Sununu's advice and get out of the race, she said, quote, "Chris is my friend, and I will never tell anyone to get out of the race. It's a personal issue to get in. It's a personal decision to get out. That's Chris's decision to make." DeSantis, who is spending most of his time in Iowa right now, is expected back in New Hampshire later this week. Haley, who has enjoyed some momentum in the polls in recent months, thanks in part to well-received performances in those first 3 GOP presidential primary debates, she has surpassed DeSantis for second place in New Hampshire and here in South Carolina, her home state as well, which holds, of course, the first Southern contest. Christie stands in third place in most of the latest surveys in New Hampshire, even though he has spent most of his resources in New Hampshire. Governor Haley also claims to make a fight of it in Iowa, the state, again, January 15th, who holds their caucuses. And again, I'll be there. They'll lead off the GOP nominating calendar. The latest poll suggests that she is close to pulling even with DeSantis for a distant second behind Donald Trump. Sununu's endorsement was one Haley had coveted early this summer at the New Hampshire's GOP annual cookout. Miss Haley was introduced by Sununu. After exchanging a hug, Haley kicked off her comments to the crowd by saying, "You've got a great governor," and with sort of a joke saying that, "Governor, I very much worry about your health. What I'm thinking is I don't want you to overstress. I don't want you to get out there and do too much. So I think that what's best is go ahead and endorse me now." Haley, of course, was kidding, but in the ensuing months, she has a number of times jokingly asked Sununu about an endorsement a handful of times. She got that last night. Sununu's backing of Haley follows a month Republican Governor Kim Reynolds of Iowa endorsed DeSantis. Since then, Governor Reynolds has joined Governor DeSantis at multiple stops on the Hawkeye State campaign trail. Governor Sununu told Fox Digital last month that his endorsement would also be much more than just a one-day announcement. He said, "If I get behind a candidate, I'm going to get behind the candidate." And he later added that he had put muscle behind his endorsement 110%, saying, "That's the fun part. Are you kidding? I'm not going to do an endorsement and sit on my hands. When I do an endorsement, it's going to be 6, 7, 8, 9-week push, whatever it is, to really make sure folks know where we are. I tend to not leave anything on the table, he said. And Sununu, who's won, again, election and re-election to 4 two-year terms as New Hampshire governor, very popular again, said that he'd help whichever candidate he backed put together a ground game. I think we know how to do it pretty well here. Now, the big question going forward, and I'd love to get your take on this, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Does Governor Sununu's endorsement have an impact on this race, with Donald Trump holding a double-digit lead in New Hampshire? The governor has tempered expectations about his endorsement and whether or not it might move the needle in his home state, saying, I'm never a big believer that endorsements matter as much as the press think they do. I'd love to get your take. Does an endorsement mean anything to you? Does it change your mind? Of course, our governor here in South Carolina, Henry McMaster, has endorsed Donald Trump. Does that make you more or less likely to support Donald Trump? 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639 is the Truth text line. I'd love to get your text message. You can call and leave a quick voice message as well, or email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Tell me what you think about endorsements, and do they play an important role in your decision-making? Longtime New Hampshire-based Republican strategist Jim Merrill, who is a veteran of numerous presidential campaigns, said that the endorsement is a, quote, big deal. He said there's no endorsement in New Hampshire you'd rather have, and it's clear he's going to use it early and often to support Miss Haley. Now, Neil Levesky, the executive director of the New Hampshire Institute of Politics at St. Anselm College, says it is always questionable whether endorsements matter, but in this case, this is a game-changing endorsement, he said. But longtime New Hampshire-based Republican consultant Mike Dennehy says, I think times have changed from the 1990s when endorsements by a governor made a significant difference. I expect Sununu will open some doors, and he will make for a very good surrogate, but in the end, I don't think it will make more than a 1% difference in this race. Dennehy, who's a veteran of numerous GOP presidential campaigns, expressing his idea endorsements just don't mean a whole lot, even in a state like New Hampshire with a very popular governor. Sununu's backing of Haley comes a couple of weeks after she landed the endorsement of Americans for Prosperity, their action campaign. This, of course, the political wing of the influential and very deep-pocketed, fiscally conservative network founded by the billionaire Koch brothers. AFP Action has pledged to spend tens of millions of dollars and mobilize its grassroots operation to boost Nikki Haley and help push the Republican Party past Trump. They're very much anti-Trump. You probably have received some mail pieces from them, not necessarily until recently naming a candidate, but just basically saying they don't believe Trump can beat Biden. And if you want 4 more years of Biden, then the best way to get that is to nominate Trump. The Trump campaign yesterday, of course, had a response, taking aim at Governor Sununu. Stephen Chang, the Trump campaign spokesperson, said Sununu's endorsement means nothing and does nothing for any candidate in this race. The only endorsement in politics that matters is President Trump's endorsement. Nothing will stop him from securing the nomination and beating crooked Joe Biden and retaking the White House. President Trump, of course, continues to hold a very large double-digit lead over Haley, DeSantis, and the rest of the remaining field, as various polling agencies are trying to get a gauge of what the nomination looks like as we are getting very close to Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina. Sununu said last month that Trump's got a floor, but he's also has a ceiling, saying, and when you look at the fact that well over 50% of the Republican core-based voter wants somebody else, the fact that in New Hampshire you can have independents that come out, I believe in record numbers, most of which won't vote for yesterday's news in terms of Donald Trump. Again, I ask you, what do you think an endorsement like this with Governor Sununu could possibly mean for Nikki Haley's campaign? 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Love to get your take on that. So a Seattle high schooler was marked incorrect on a history quiz when he stated that only women can get pregnant, according to a AP report out of Washington State. Here's what happened. The 10th grade student at Chief Stealth International High School reportedly failed the true-false quiz titled Understanding Gender versus Sex in his Ethnic Studies World History class. This according to his mother, who told a conservative radio show, the Jason Rant Show, this past weekend. The student labeled two statements true. The first, that all men have penises, and the second, that only women can get pregnant. He was marked incorrect for both and failed the knowledge check quiz as a result, said his mother, who has asked to remain anonymous so that her son doesn't get penalized. She told the KTTH radio show, I keep trying to wrap my head around how it's legal to teach inaccurate information and force students to answer against their beliefs or receive negative scores. Other questions on the quiz, which was administered about 2 weeks ago, asked students about pronoun usage and gender as a construct, according to the talk show. The mom, who said that she felt frustration and anger over the quiz, also said her son, who is white, is often berated by teachers at the school who have reportedly accused him of being racist and a product of the patriarchy that teaches young boys not to care about anything, according to the Jason Rant Show. Seattle Public Schools said the quiz was meant to promote inclusion and was in line with lessons taught in the ethnic studies class. A course description states that students would be investigating the global economy, society, and culture. A spokesperson for the school district told the New York Post in a statement, Seattle Public Schools remains committed to fostering inclusive environments that encourage the exploration of contemporary issues, particularly the examination of power systems such as racism and patriarchy. This dedication extends to providing a space for thoughtful exploration and dialogue on these issues. Now, what thoughtful exploration and dialogue is needed on these types of questions? That only women can get pregnant. That is a true statement. That has always been a true statement. And I struggle to understand how we could even be questioning this, particularly a school district suggesting that there's another option, suggesting that this young man who said that only women can get pregnant, how he got the question wrong. The district also noted the failing quiz grade will not affect the student's overall grade in class, according to them. Well, why have it? Why have this type of test? And what does the idea that only women can get pregnant have to do with diversity and inclusion anyway? The student's mother said that her son was expressing his own beliefs with his quiz answers. Well, that could be the case, but I don't think it's even down to him expressing his own belief. He's expressing the truth. I mean, it is a true statement that only women can get pregnant. His mother told the Rant Show that she is proud of him because he refused to answer against his beliefs, which are medically and scientifically accurate, or at least used to be. A Moroccan man who thanked President Joe Biden after illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border into Arizona last week.
I love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything, Joe Biden. I'm a good person. I want to be a good person here in the United States.
Let me first tell you about PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. Over 3 years ago, I was introduced to Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team at PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. I needed to lose some weight. I wanted to get healthier. I was able to lose 30 pounds within just a few months, and 3 years later, I have maintained that weight. How many times have you lost weight only to gain it back within 6 months or a year? It's not going to happen with PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition. You know why? Because this program is not a fad diet. It's not really a diet. It's a lifestyle change, and it's based on the science of nutrition. Dr. Ashley Lucas and her team of nutritionists will get you back on track. Yes, even in the middle of the holiday season like we are now. And I know some of you are thinking, well, I'll wait till after the first of the year. Wrong answer. You need to call today, 864-252-4925. Call and set up your first consultation, and you can get a jump on entering 2024 as the year that you lose the weight and that you get healthy. Folks, this has been one of the most amazing journeys I've ever been on, and I've gotten some amazing stories from listeners just like you who have lost 10, 20, 30, 135 pounds in some cases, and they're feeling better. They have more energy. They're able to focus. They sleep better. There are just so many things that are going to be improved in your life that you'd never think about. I want you to start 2024 off right. I want next year to be the best year of your life. Call today, 864-252-4925. Go online to myphdweightloss.com. PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition, the official partner of the Clemson Tigers. So this Moroccan man who thanked President Joe Biden after illegally crossing the U.S.-Mexico border into Arizona last week has since been released from Border Patrol custody and is in New York City as we speak with a court date set for October 2024. The individual was said to be one of two African men who spoke to Fox News' Bill Malugin in Lukeville, Arizona, telling Malugin that he loves Joe Biden.
I love you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything, Joe Biden. I'm a good person. I want to be a good person here in the United States.
Well, of course he loves Joe Biden. Who wouldn't love Joe Biden if you are from another country and you want to come into the United States illegally? Both he and another migrant who came from Liberia. Now think about this. They're coming in from Mexico into our country. One's from Morocco, one's from Liberia. You think that's not planned? I mean, people are literally traveling to South America, to Mexico, so that they can come into our country illegally. This guy from Liberia said that he's not seeking asylum, but rather he's coming to America for the opportunities.
Came here because I want quality life. You know, America is a land of opportunity.
Yes, America is the land of opportunity. We also have a system of how you become an American, how you become a citizen, and coming across our border illegally is not the way. Both men who are among the thousands, sadly, who illegally cross the U.S.-Mexico border every single week said that they were headed to New York City, which has been overwhelmed, of course, according to Mayor Eric Adams, by an influx of some 140,000 illegals since last year, forcing the city to slash funding for certain departments that hardworking New Yorkers are paying for but not getting the benefit from. Fiscal year 2023 has broken new records with more than 2.4 million illegal encounters. September saw a record for encounters at the southern border, while the following month saw a record for encounters in October with more than 240,000 encounters border-wide. Funding for more resources at the border has stalled in recent weeks as Republicans demand that it be coupled with restrictions on asylum and the use of parole, a demand which some Democrats have balked. It's just crazy, isn't it? And Joe Biden, his arms are open, saying, come on, come to our country. Of course, the guy loves Joe Biden. On the Truth text line, Pete writes, unfortunately, I don't have friends. Hard to make friends when you're trying to take over the galaxy, but I'll tell all of my minions. Pete was responding to, Pete had texted me the other day. I thanked him for subscribing to my podcast and listening to Just the Truth. And I said, hey, tell all your friends to join us. And I will give you that challenge as well. If you're listening today, tell a friend. Just tell one or two about Just the Truth. We are creating a movement, and I need your help. So take the minute, text someone. You can send them the link to the podcast, ask them to listen, and ask them to follow. I want to see a nice little spike over the next few days, so I'll know if you're doing it or not. Tony writes on the Truth text line, hey, Joey, Biden is showing how Democrats influence voters by lying and saying that they think they will get them votes. He's a piece of crap like the quitter Nikki Haley. Did I mention she's a quitter? Tony, I think we understand that you believe Nikki Haley is a quitter. Also on the text line, texter says, Biden has lived his life as a crook and he will die that way. Hunter falls not far from the tree. Likely Republicans don't have the backbone to take any action. Because truth be known, many Republicans have lived just like old Joe. Jeff writes, the best thing that could ever happen to Joe Biden is to lose his Corvette. I know he bought it with dirty money. This in response to yesterday, I told you a little about Joe Biden's latest story telling a group of Philadelphia firefighters about this horrible fire that he had in his home where he almost lost his wife and family cat and his beloved Corvette. Of course, we now know, and we've known this for a long, long time because Biden keeps repeating this, even when told, hey, Joe, it didn't exactly happen like that. It was a minor kitchen fire that was under control within 20 minutes or so, very little damage. Email says, Joey, what happened to this lady who had to leave Texas to get an abortion? That's exactly what's costing us elections, and hers was even a life or death situation. Interesting observation there. Is the abortion issue going to be tough for Republicans in 2024? This email, I think, is suggesting that, and this is a story from Texas. We talked about it yesterday, where the lady was told by Texas she could not have an abortion, even though her doctor was saying it was a medical emergency. This lady, I think her name was Kate Cox, has left Texas. Her attorneys say that she had received invitations by many other states saying, come to our state, we will let you have an abortion. Your text and emails are welcome as well. Joey at joeyhudson.com or text the Truth text line 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Hey, you can leave a quick voice message as well. So did Wall Street give us a reason for optimism yesterday? Some good news out of Wall Street yesterday. That in just a moment. First, portions of today's show brought to you by the Discounted Appliance Warehouse. You know where I buy my appliances. I have been for a number of years now. If you're tired of buying appliances from inexperienced sales staff who have absolutely no appliance knowledge, all they can simply say is, well, if you need a refrigerator, go to aisle 39. You're not going to get that at Discounted Appliance Warehouse because Jeff and Johnny and the whole team there have all the knowledge that you need to make the right decision. Appliances aren't cheap. You need to make the right decision the first time. That's why I recommend shopping at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. They have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, nearly perfect reviews on Google, and the team at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they have the knowledge to help you make the right purchase. They'll show you around the warehouse, over 11,000 square feet, slam-packed with new appliances. They'll help you find the ideal solution for you and your family. They have an expert installation department, award-winning service department, and extended warranties. They have you covered well beyond the sale. And Discounted Appliance Warehouse is proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with up to 7-year warranties on parts and labor. They're worth the short drive to Pickens. Discounted Appliance Warehouse. Find them online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. So some good news for investors yesterday as Wall Street rose to its highest level since early 2022. just a bit below its record high after a report showed that inflation is behaving pretty much as expected by financial analysts. The S&P rose 500, rose 21.26 points. The Dow Jones Industrial Average rose 173.0 points. The NASDAQ Composite rose just over 100 points. Treasury yields were mixed after the November update on inflation roughly matched economists' expectations. Traders still expect the Federal Reserve to stand put on interest rates when it announces its next move sometime today, actually. The report did cast some doubt on when rates may come down, but still things seem to be leveling out, getting back to a bit of normal. Big tech stocks help lead the way, we're told, following solid gains by NVIDIA, Meta Platforms, and some of the other Wall Street's largest and most influential stocks. But Wall Street spotlight was on the inflation report, which showed U.S. consumers paid prices for gasoline, food, and other living costs last month that were 3.1% higher than a year earlier. That was just a slight deceleration from last month's 3.2 inflation, and exactly in line with what economists had predicted. The term Google has become synonymous with doing an online search, right? Even if you're not using Google as your search engine, most all of us talk about Googling something. It's kind of like Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand, but we often refer to any tissue as a Kleenex, right? Same thing with Google. So what have Americans been searching for during 2023? Yesterday, California-based tech giant released its year-end search, a roundup of 2023's top global queries ranging from unforgettable pop culture moments to the loss of beloved figures and tragic news carrying worldwide repercussions, according to the AP report. The ongoing Israel-Hamas war topped news trends in 2023, while the Buffalo Bills safety Damar Hamlin, who experienced the tragic near-death cardiac arrest on the field during a game back in January, but has since completed a celebrated comeback, a miracle, and he attributes a lot of that to prayer, was Google's top trending person this year. Here are the 5 top searches in some of the categories. For example, news, the war in Israel and Gaza, the Titanic submarine, the Turkey earthquake, Hurricane Hillary, and Hurricane Idalia were some of the top news searches this past year. As far as people's names who are being searched, was your name on there? Well, here are the top 5. Damar Hamlin, as I just mentioned, Jeremy Renner, Andrew Tate, the French soccer player Kylian Mbappe, I think is how you say that, and Travis Kelce, of course, the NFL football player that is dating Taylor Swift. Some of the deaths that have been in the top searches: Matthew Perry, Tina Turner, Ken Block, Jerry Springer. Jerry Springer, I'd forgotten that he'd passed away this year. Movies at the top of the list: Barbie, Oppenheimer, Jawan, Sound of Freedom, John Wick Chapter 4. So what have you searched for? What's your top search topic or name this year? 864-477-JOEY. Love to get your text message of what your top search is. That's it for today's Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio to lose weight for the last time. Visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list, now's a good time to do that. Just go to joeyhudson.com. Right on the homepage, that red button, Connect with Joey. Click on it so that you can receive our emails with the most up-to-date news. Thanks for spending a few minutes of your day with me. Keep your comments coming via the Truth text line, 864-477-5639. Keep your emails coming to Joey at joeyhudson.com. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. We're back again tomorrow. Until then, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.